Hello. So it is early Sunday morning on January 12th, 2025. I didn't read a lot this past week. I'm a little bit behind. I have been working hard at catching up, but I do have some books that I read. I have some books that I received. I know I say this every week, but this should be the last one that has a full-size book haul in it, because my book outload order came in. My book outload order, they made on like the 22nd. So let's look at what I read first. I'm a little bit sick. Not very, but I'm getting over it, but it's still a little bit there. That's why if I sound weird. So the first book I read this past week was Such Good Boys by Tina Durman, which is a true crime book about these brothers who murdered their deeply mentally ill and abusive mother. And I do think that it is important to note that she was both. Like, she was mentally ill, but she was also abusive, and some people should have helped these boys at some point. But it was a 20-year-old and his 15-year-old brother. And really, the 20-year-old did most of it. The 15-year-old brother just kind of like helped with the body disposal, because he was very, you could tell he was very used to just kind of going along with whatever was happening constantly. And it was really, really sad. And honestly, what did make me sadder was the younger brother, because the author does, I know that all the Goodreads reviews say the same thing, the author does spend like most of this book trying to make you feel really bad for these kids. And they're like, but they were cold-blooded murderers who killed their mother. But it's like, did we read the same first half of the book? But the brother, like, you could tell that Matt was the younger one, that was like how he survived, how he managed to survive, was by just kind of slipping under the radar and just going along with whatever was happening. And so I don't think that made him like cold and hard and terrible. I think that made him just kind of disconnected, and that's just how he was able to cope with it. I gave it 2.5 out of 5 stars. Not my favorite true crime book that I've ever read, but it's been a while since I've read a true crime book. It honestly had. I had a big true crime phase in like the latter half of college and like right after I graduated, and then I haven't really read a lot of it since. I've been really into fantasy recently, so it was nice to get back into it. I gave it 2.5 out of 5. The next one I read, okay, I don't know if you can really call it a book, but it does have an ISBN number. And I just flipped through this It horror posters book. Which has some good posters in it. I don't think I'm going to take any of them out. I think I have a I have a bunch of like coffee table books at the top of my second bookshelf. I'm going to probably put this up there too. But no, it's just a fun situation. I do want to rewatch this movie, genuinely. Especially the first one. But I do kind of want to rewatch both of them. I haven't in a long time. I want to rewatch so many of my movies, but I have like so many other movies. It's getting to the point like the book wall. It's like I want to reread a bunch of books, but I have the whole book wall, and I don't know what's going on with my bangs. I think I need a haircut, or I need to cut my bangs a little bit because they're getting to the point where they're getting too long. Anyway, next I did read Good Omens by Neil Gaiman and Terry Pratchett. This was really good. I want to reread it. I finished it like genuinely 4 days ago, and I want to reread it. So this is about the apocalypse, and it follows this demon Crowley and this angel Aziraphale. Aziraphale. I don't know. I haven't watched the show or anything. And because I haven't watched the show, you know who I was picturing as them? You know who I was picturing as them? Do you know who I was picturing as them the entire time? That's what it was. But no, this was very good. And I want to reread it. I genuinely do. I think I had a lot of good things to say. I haven't ever read anything by Terry Pratchett on his own. I've read some Neil Gaiman. I read Ocean at the End of the Lane, which I really enjoyed. I've read Coraline a couple times. I read The Graveyard Book. I'd like to read more Neil Gaiman. I know there's the whole thing going on, or was last year. But I would still like to read more of his work. And I would like to get into Terry Pratchett at some point. But no, it was very good. It was genuinely funny in a lot of ways. I really enjoyed the characters. The writing was wonderful. Like I said, I want to reread it already. I feel like I need to reread it. I feel like I didn't give it the attention it deserved. I give it 4.75 out of 5 stars. Then I read a terrible little graphic novel. Oh my god. And that is The Silver Eyes, the graphic novel. I read this book, actually. I read the novel because I had to for a novel study when I was teaching high school. And the book was bad. And this has all the bad aspects of the book, but also absolutely terrible art. It is so ugly. But this follows the daughter of the owner of Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, and they go back, and it's like been built around a mall's been built around it. So they go and they explore, and somebody gets kidnapped. And it's the only good character in the entire book. I remember liking him in the novel. In the graphic novel, he any personality he'd had in the novel was gone. So basically, if you are into the novels and supplementary materials for this franchise, which I'm honestly not even into, I would suggest the novels because they're bad, but this was worse. I give it 2 out of 5 stars. All right. Then I read a James Patterson novel, and that is Cat and Mouse. And so this was deeply boring up until about 300 pages in, and then the twist kind of got me for about 25 pages, and then was boring again. So this follows Alcross, as we normally are, and there's this man who is really, really into killing him, and it's Gary Soneji, and he's gonna do it. He's just got this big like grudge against Alcross and his children. But here's the thing: they kill Gary halfway through the book, and then we got this whole new thing going on. And this whole new thing, the twist for the whole new thing, was very interesting. I'm not gonna lie. I thought that was kind of fun. And I'm sure my enjoyment of it was kind of exacerbated by the fact that I haven't read these books in order, because I don't think you really need to. And so maybe if I had, it wouldn't have been quite so shocking. Because I was genuinely enjoying Pierce as a point of view character, because he was kind of like very dramatic and a very stereotypical detective kind of way. But that was all I guess that was all an act. I don't know. But no, that did bump this up to a 3 for me. I'm still not looking forward to reading the other James Patterson I have. I don't have a ton in the book wall, but I have some, and I'm not looking forward to it because he's not very good. And this was early enough in his career that you know that he was writing this one. You know, this is from 1997. Right when this book was published, this was his backlist. And I know that looks like a lot for James Patterson. That is like a drop in the pond. It wasn't good. And then, finally, I mean, I had one saving grace this week. I mean, I guess Good Omens was good. Good Omens was really good, but this next book was, I honestly think it's going to be a contender for one of my top books of the year. It was so good, and I was not expecting it to be so good, because on the back, it says the 2nd edition of the Splatterpunk award-winning novel. And this comes from 2020. This came out 2020 originally, which makes me realize, like, okay, no, it's not Splatterpunk. It's going to be extreme horror, but honestly, it wasn't. It was horror. It was definitely horror. And I do think it has more in common with Splatterpunk than it does with extreme horror. I'm not gonna lie. And that is True Crime by Samantha. And I should have known. It's extreme horror written by a woman, so I'm more likely to enjoy it, because I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. Every extreme horror novel I've read written by a man, real bad. By a woman, it's got a better chance. I really like Blue Jay. I really like Summer Never Ends. I did not like No One Rides for Free, but oh my god. True Crime is better than all those. So this follows this girl, Susie. Her and her brother are living with their extremely abusive mother, who has been abusing them since they were young. And that's the point that Susie kind of thinks about in here. At one point, she's like, I don't even want to think about what she could have done to us when we were babies, when we were that vulnerable. I was just like, But very early on in the book, they kill their mother, and they decide to start going on this little, like, killing spree, because Susie is really obsessed with true crime magazines, and it's so good. It is so well written. It is beautiful. It's beautifully written. It is horrifying in a lot of like deeply uncomfortable ways, but like in a way that like I like that. Like that was very good. That was very good. It was good. It was uncomfortable in a really good way, in a really raw way, and it said a lot. It said things. It felt for the characters. It was beautiful, and it was a little. It had that kind of joie de vivre that like our Splatterpunk has, where it's like it's a little bit horny. It's a little bit horny. And it was really, really good. I give it 5 out of 5 stars. Like genuinely, I could see this being one of my favorites of the year. So good. So these are what I read. When it comes to what I'm keeping, I'll keep this one. But I think honestly, other than that, the only one I'm gonna keep is True Crime. I think I would like a nicer edition of Good Omens. I would like a hardcover, and then would reread it. But other than that, I'm gonna get rid of all of these. I think all of them honestly are just gonna go to my mom's school. And some of them I might put a sticky note on some of them to keep. What I received. So again, this is genuinely a full-size book haul. But again, this should be the last one. So the first thing I got here, I got The Veiled Kingdom by Holly Renee, which is a romantasy. I've been getting into fantasy, and so I've been kind of trying to get into romantasy as well. And I heard good things about this one. I heard bad things about the sequel, but I heard good things about this one. So I figured I would give it a shot. I also got the third volume of The Flowers of Evil. So continuing on with that series. I did get a hardcover of Summer Sons again. So I had a hardcover, I donated it. I got a paperback because the hardcover was being used for a novel study, and then I decided I wanted a hardcover again, so I got a hardcover again. And now I can reread Summer Sons again, which is a great time. I love Summer Sons. Is genuinely one of my favorite modern horror novels. I got the fourth volume of Orochi. I need volumes 2 and 3 as well. But this is a very fun manga series, kind of spooky, kind of weird. This girl just causes problems. It's great. I did get the 5th volume of Tomo-chan is a Girl. So now I do have, I think, 3 volumes that I have not read, which is great. Great build that up before the drought of 2025. I also got a movie. I got The Devil's Carnival, which is by the same person who did Reap of the Genetic Opera. And I'm just going to put that straight down here, actually. Come on, will you fit? Oh, I bet you'll fit. Come on. There we go. So I just put that down underneath my TV. I also got The Butterfly Girl by Renee Denfeld, which is a sequel to The Child Finder, which I really enjoyed. So figured I'd pick up the sequel. I have The Man Who Came Down the Attic Stairs by Celine Liu, which looks interesting. This is like a graphic novel, and it's kind of creepy. And I got it off of Book Outlet. This is my Book Outlet portion. Also off of Book Outlet, Message Not Found by Dante Medema, which takes place in Alaska, which should be interesting. I believe she makes like a chatbot of her dead best friend using all of her texts and stuff like that, and just things go kind of haywire, which looks kind of fun. The Great Big One by J.C. Giger, which is End of the World. I think we're thinking like an end of the world kind of situation, which seems interesting. I don't know if it's actually the end of the world or if it is like just their community is really preparing for the end of the world, but it looks fun. Fraternity Stories by Benjamin Nugent, which just looked interesting. It's very short, kind of literary fiction going on here. A Trick of the Light by Lois Metzger, which features a male main character with an eating disorder, which is something you don't see very often. A book that I have actually read before, but I wanted to reread it, and I saw it on Book Outlet, and I was like, hell yeah. Broken in the Best Possible Way by Jenny Lawson. I remember when I worked at the library, I read all of her books on library time, because the library had all of them, and it's gonna be fun to reread, honestly. Short and Skinny by Mark Tatuli, which is a graphic novel, a middle grade graphic novel. So we shall see how this goes, and then I can put it in the classroom, which is great. And then I've got Darkroom Etiquette by Robin Rowe. She wrote The List of Cages, which is really, really good, really, really dark. This is, I believe this kid gets kidnapped. It's huge. It's big. I like that. And then finally, we do also have my December 30th and January 6th New Yorker. So yeah, that is what I received, what I read. There's everything. I'll talk to you later, and goodbye.